What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are on the couch here again at the Australian Disc Golf Championships with another very special guest. She has 152 career wins, adding to that today actually. This is breaking news. Fresh off a win in the FEO division at the Australian Champs. So 153 career wins, if that's right. She's been a PDGA member since 1999, Innova Disc Star Team member, and actually women's distance record holder at 173.3 metres, which in anyone's
I haven't
book,
heard it in meters in a while. That is
568.5 feet
yes.
for those Americans who might be watching.
Yes.
But 173 metres, that's a long way.
It's a crush.
Currently ranked number 19 in the United States Tour, and plenty of other accolades to go along with it. So, Jennifer Allen, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure to hang out with you this week, and thanks so much for taking the time to come on the channel.
Absolutely, thank you. I'll go ahead and start with thanks for looking for my disc.
Of course, that's just a little story in itself, isn't it?
That's another time.
We did spend a while there, but we got it back. So no discs were lost at the championship, so that's good. Very good. Well, I guess just a little bit of a recap. You've just won. Have a little bit of time for the win to sink in. How does it feel?
Good. Definitely. Day one I didn't know. I felt like personally, the girls were way better than their ratings show, and I warmed up. I practiced around with Cassie, and she was crushing and playing so well, and so I think there's always that pressure of you're just gonna demolish them. And so round one I just really kind of wanted to play smart and kind of feel it out, and holy cow, they literally stepped up just charging, the four of them, and then hole two, sitting there I was like, oh my god, I was bottom of the box. I had a horrible roll away on hole one, the first hole, and they all three stepped up and laced hole two, and I was like,
okay, they come
all
to play.
right, yeah, exactly, here we go. And so I had just a full round of just weird luck and not the greatest, where everything kind of ended up on round one. So a little bit of several tough breaks throughout the whole round.
Yes.
And so the second day I had better luck or no luck at all, or better luck on 18. And just kind of tried to get back more into a rhythm, but I just wasn't feeling smooth and good timing off the tees because my steps were wrong on the tee pad. And then fixed that today and started way further back and ended with a lot of room off the tee, and it just allowed me to do a continuous step instead of trying to stop and step up and not fall off. And so I figured out the tees today, and just things were smooth, good releases that were putting me by the basket. I started off very strong. I don't ever look, I don't have Wi-Fi on the course, so I don't look at the scores, I don't really know. But I had a lot, I started off really strong, and most of them were just tap-ins.
That's easy.
So, so it felt really good. I tried to stay clean. Got a little lazy at the one bogey on 15. That was mix of a bad upshot and a bad putt. So other than that, played very clean, but I did what I said. Day one I finished 2 over, and I was like, I could do 10 strokes better than that.
And guess what you got today?
10 strokes better than that.
8 under.
8 under today.
Absolutely.
And I still left a few out there, but I don't think I could do too much better.
Yeah, no, incredible round today.
Yeah, it was good.
That's great.
Good way to finish. Great group of women. Cassie and I have known each other. I guess I first met her in 2015. So it's always great. I've been waiting and come back. And so we definitely were very excited to be together again. And we've had such a great week with our whole group. Spending time together again. It's just a really good group of people. And so that's been great. But along with that, so is Sarah and Hussey, and so we've had a really good time, and I'm just trying to enjoy myself here.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. We're like, oh, why do you love it so much? And it's like, well, I didn't even care to go to the beach yesterday after, we were just tired, it was super windy, and we planned to go to the beach, and it's like, I didn't even care to, I just wanted to spend time with them. And so I think it's more the people that I love it here, and just it's a slower pace, and people care about their friends and their family a little bit more than America's kind of really changed that, and it's more fast paced and go, and I kind of like this slower. It's like 10 years back in America.
Gotcha. Okay, going back in time.
Yeah, I love it here.
Awesome, because that was what I was going to ask. Is like, how's your time been, and what have you enjoyed? So yeah.
Yeah, we went to the zoo, which was absolutely incredible. Steve Irwin's zoo, so it was kind of cool. I wish my boys would have been here because, I mean, I can't remember how many Saturdays that's all they watched. Especially my youngest
really?
loves. We have
wow.
like 6, geckos and bearded dragons at home, and so my youngest has always loved snakes and lizards and any kind of animal, and so he would have loved to have gone. So I tried to video and FaceTime him. I think they just kept getting mad though. They're like, bad connection. A little jealous, but I tried to share the moment with him as much as I could.
Oh, that's nice.
That was super fun, and went out on the water just a little bit. But next time I'd love to check out the Great Barrier Reef. You can't get it all in once, so that makes me, have to come back.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you'll be back.
Oh, absolutely.
Amazing. That'll be awesome. Well, you've seen a few cool things, but more to explore
more
for
to
sure.
come.
Lots of
Yeah.
coastline.
Yeah.
Amazing. We've been touring for quite a while. If you look at your playing career, when did you start sort of touring? Actually, I don't know if I've got that down here.
So I started golf in '99. I played for about 6 months, and I went to AM Worlds. And back, there wasn't a lot of women, and so there was just a couple of us in Oklahoma, where I'm from. And so after AM Worlds, I might have played one more advanced tournament or something like that, but I pretty much went pro right after that. And so I'm pretty sure I went pro by into my first year. I think.
I think it was.
And I played a lot of big events, but I never toured because I always had a full-time job. I work as a physical therapist assistant. And
so even now you still do that, or is that?
Yes, the first time in my career took off about May was the last, and I went on tour. Finally, this was the very first time I've ever went on tour.
Okay,
so I played.
Okay, right.
So 22 years of golf, or 23, whatever, 23 years of golf. And I've always just went to as many big events as possible, but I've never quit my full-time job. I'm a single mom, and so it was just always hard to do. But with COVID, I was kind of wanting a break from healthcare, and so that kind of pushed me just as much as disc golf was growing so much, and I felt like I needed to take the opportunity while I still could, and try to jump in when it was on the rise.
For sure.
So this was my first year on tour. Rookie.
Yeah, true. But obviously you got 53 wins is
not really
is
rookie.
Nothing to sneeze at. Okay, wow. So that's really interesting to hear that you're still balancing that and having to make ends meet by doing that as well.
Yeah, it definitely makes it harder knowing. I mean, just not only having to take care and manage of a home and children somewhere else, but just the worry. So not only just financially and things like that, and physically going back and having to check on the house and stuff like that, where most of the people on tour, once they're out on the road, they don't go back to anywhere until the end of the year. So I still, even though I was out for a month or so at a time, would still go back and be home with the boys, or 2 weeks at a time or whatever. So it was still a little bit of extra traveling, but I have to.
Gotcha. Right, there's that sort of extra stress in a way, or extra thing you got to worry about.
Not a completely clear head.
No, and I guess a lot of people don't really see that as well. They kind of see it, adding to the event sort of thing, but you've got lots of other things you're having to be responsible for.
Definitely, and I even noticed, I always thought that work, in healthcare and golf kind of balanced themselves. So even though I was rushing back and forth when I was still working full time, I felt like it kind of helped me balance.
Yeah. Okay.
So I, had a paycheck. I didn't have to worry about winning a tournament to pay my bills, or and it gets your mind off of it because I'm doing something else the whole time instead of prepping. But the tournaments have gotten so big that it's really impossible to do both. You travel on Monday, finishing up on a tournament on Sunday, travel on Monday, practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and you're starting another tournament on Thursday. Yeah. So there's really not the time to work and go back and forth anymore. Yeah. But I really felt being on the road full time was more exhausting than doing back and forth.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, because it's just one after another, and the grind, it'll wear you down for sure. So
I can only
it was
imagine.
it was a long year.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can only imagine. I'm thinking I've practiced for maybe 2-3 days, played a 3-round tournament, and I can barely lift my arm up now. And yet you guys just go back to back to back.
It's just, and there's such long hard events and long courses that take a lot out of your body.
Yeah, so it's very impressive.
Yeah, it's a grind. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. It's not necessarily living the glamour life that everyone says might think
it's not. Everyone thinks, oh my God, it's so cool to be on tour. I'm going to tour as soon as I get done with school or whatever. I'm like, be ready. Like it's tough, and the talent of the players is so deep now. Like, you may not cash, and you're shooting 1,000 rated every round for the men, or you have to be top 15, 20 now in the women to have any kind of payout. I mean, there's some talented women out there, and so it's tough to make cash every week.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine. Yeah, and I guess you touched on something that I wanted to just mention a little bit is being in the sport for a while, and you sort of touched on then about how the FPO field is very strong now. You've seen it in NPO and FPO. What's that been like? Sort of seeing that transition, and now there's all these new people coming in.
So much, so much talent. Yeah. I would say for the last 10 years, you had a handful of just very dominant players that you always knew would be in that top 5. Without a doubt, they were going to be there. And now it's just there's a top 10, 15 that it's like
anyone could take it out.
Anyone can take it on any given weekend. And Kristen definitely had a very, very dominant year. But, and all of the Europeans, but him and Evelina and everyone, the Europeans are very strong, and they're ready to come over here and play more. It's not just 1 or 2 tournaments. They're ready to play our entire season over here, and so we'll see a lot more of them consistently. And then our top incredible Americans that we have. So the talent is so deep that you have to be on your game every week to win.
Yeah, it makes it tough to cash and stuff, but also it's awesome to see that that's sort of like where the sport's going.
Right. So it may be a little bit, to get the payouts up in the FPO. The men's is pretty good, I would say, but like to sustain, you have to think. I mean, if you really think about it, no matter if whatever, you're there the entire week. So you've worked well over 40 hours for the week, putting in the work as your job on tour, and you may, if you don't cash, you work for free the entire week. And so that's something that a lot of people don't think about. And there's a lot of people, usually 60% of the people in the tournament don't make that, don't cash. So it's hard to make the money, and it's not only from payouts, the sponsors and the tour series and things like that people buy and support us on the road. Definitely it's where a lot of that money comes from. Correct. Because it's not always the payout that you can depend on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good that you got those ways that the sponsors can support you as well. Just a couple more questions.
Yeah.
Do you have a highlight of your career so far? Because I know you've had a few big titles. Is there something that stands out to you as a highlight?
Breaking the world record was clearly super incredible. Of course,
about that a little bit.
Yeah, the sport wasn't quite as big then, and it wasn't really as big of a deal. Like if that would have happened now, I think it would have been a much bigger deal.
Right.
But to me personally, it was something I worked extremely hard on. I did 2-a-days every day for months, and throwing into a net just for reps, and then throwing into a field for angles, and I put a lot of work in. I took away a lot of time from my kid. Well, time away from my family a little bit, but I was working full time, working out, I think coaching baseball or cheerleading or something at the time too. Okay. So it was dwindled to you got 4 hours sleep. That was the only free time of the day. Okay. So I gave up, I think, and sacrificed and worked really hard to accomplish that, and did it the very first throw, which was pretty cool.
Wow, really?
First day.
Wow.
And so the distance trials are a 3-day, it's a tournament.
Okay.
And so you get 3 trials of 5 discs for 3 days.
Okay.
And so the first day, Simon and I both broke the records.
Wow.
And then the second day, there was like zero wind. It was just super dead, just hot and still. And so we did the mini record and the roller and the forehand record, and I also broke the mini record.
Oh, right,
And it was
okay.
0.5 breaking the overhand toss.
No way.
But when they told me that, I was like, I can grunt and throw it a little bit harder. So I did it again and hyperextended. I have a bad elbow, which is why I don't ever, I have 2 pins in my elbow. So that's why I don't, for 20 years I never forehand. And so I hyperextended that. And so I didn't even really throw the last day. I tried once in the wind and it was not worth it.
So take 2 off?
So I pretty much just played the first day.
But
so that was super fun and really exciting to accomplish just a goal set, you know, and for my kids to see like, you can work really hard and accomplish, things when you put your mind to it. And then I have 2 majors that I won this year and last year. And this year's was fun. It was just, it wasn't as exciting, I guess. It didn't feel as big just because I won it by several strokes. So that didn't feel as magical. But the first one is your first win, my first major. That's awesome. And it was such a magical moment, throwing it in a playoff against one of my very first, idols with Des Redding. And so truly magical. And it was like really, like it seemed like it took an hour for the disc to get to the basket.
Incredible shot.
And it just seemed like eternity to get there. And then when it did, it was like did this really just happen?
Wow.
And so that one was very special.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Those are some cool moments.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's probably a big question, but I guess maybe to women looking at getting into the sport or things like that, do you have any sort of advice that you would give to someone who's either just looking to play recreationally or starting to look it up to take it to the FPO sort of level?
I think no matter if you're looking into it as a recreational or trying to become a tournament player, the main goal that you want to continue to focus on, and I know it's kind of cliche, is just have fun.
Yeah.
I know, like today, I tried to get out there and have a great time. I always try to maybe force myself to have a good time because it's when I play my best. And that's not for everybody. Some people are very strong, determined players that can really focus and push themselves to almost get mad and play better.
Gotcha.
So I guess it really kind of depends on the person that you are, but enjoy it. Like it's supposed to be out there for a good time with your friends or by yourself. It's good exercise. You're outdoors. Typically you play better when you have a good time. And if you don't want to have a good time, then why do you want to play? Like why are you doing it if you don't enjoy being out there? Like you're just torturing yourself. So remember that the sun's always going to come up, and we still learn and improve every single day. And we've played for over 20 years. So the game is always changing, and your skills and body is always changing. And so that's the fun of it. Is like you can continue to improve no matter how long you've played. It kind of suckers you in.
Definitely.
So enjoy it and have fun. Remember why you're out there. And if you're not having fun, back away for a little bit. Take a little bit of time off, because it's like riding a bike, and you can always just come back and pick it up at any time.
Amazing. That's some awesome advice.
Yeah.
How can people support you? What can they do?
My tour series, I have 2. My T-Bird, which I absolutely love. And then this year, Innova supported us by giving us a second tour series disc, which was that I got the Halo Rock. Just as much as my T-Bird. I absolutely love that disc. I feel very special to get 2 discs that I truly love. I throw them every round. I depend on them. They fly exactly like I want to. They're just made for me, I felt like.
Perfect.
But everyone else says they're kind of made for them too, so it's good. But I'm going to think they're made for me. So you can always buy those from the Innova Pro Shop.
Okay, yeah.
Those are on sale, and they change yearly, so this is getting close to the end of the year.
Yes.
If you do want this year's stamp or this year's disc, I mean, even I personally will be buying as many as possible because you never know, next year they may be just to tweak them a little bit different or whatnot. This year's T-Bird flew a little bit straighter, longer glide than all my previous years. Were really stable, and it's still stable, but it's just glides longer. So I absolutely love it. It's been my favorite. So even I personally will be buying a few to set aside.
Get onto it.
Because you don't want to look for a pond for hours to try to find it.
No, Buy multiple.
Get a couple extra. And then next year I hope to like have a few more things out there to personally sell. Cool. Occasionally, this year I was able to bring some disc along with a personal stamp that I made to sell. But finish up my tour series and then look for maybe a little bit more next year.
Sweet, awesome. Yeah. We'll try and link that all below. That'd be great. Yeah. And we'll put your socials in there as well.
Perfect.
We are going to go watch the NPO League card now. So Jen, thank you so much for your time. It's been awesome. You've been very generous with your time, so much appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And safe travels back to the US.
Thank you so much.
Next year.
Thank you, everybody. I love you guys.
See you next time. Catch you in the next one.